Hiya, how is everyone? It's Tuesday the 2nd of September today. Did you see my tomato harvest? I was so impressed by that. I can't actually take the credit because it was actually one of my lovely clients that handed it in to me, and I believe the variety is Tumbling Tom, and they've just been fantastic. The amount of tomatoes I've had off that, and over the last couple of weeks, I did get a bit sidetracked with other stuff, and I wasn't always able to come out and get tomatoes. As silly as that sounds, I just had no time. So it was nice to get them harvested, and they're in the fridge just now. But I wanted to talk about the perennials that are in flower in my garden just now, because as I was going around sort of deadheading things, I thought it might be quite nice. Anybody else that maybe lives in the same sort of climate, it might be quite useful to see what you would maybe want to get in your garden. I kind of got thinking about it because, I mean, look at this gorgeous Annabelle hydrangea. It is starting to go over, it's getting a wee bit brown now. It's getting really lime toned, which is really, really gorgeous. And it makes the wee brown bits not just quite so noticeable. So I thought maybe that would be a nice one to start with. I have absolutely loved this, and this plant is, I've maybe had it for 2 years. The first year I bought it probably mid-season or just at the start of the season, and it flowered. You know, when you see the tags and you think, nah, no way. Well, it did, it flowered, and I got quite a few. And then last year, even more. I have cut, every year I do cut, well, since I've had it, I have cut it down just about a third of the height, just in the late winter, early spring. I tend to do that, and it obviously then lets it branch out, and then you get even more. Now the Annabelle, you can cut that, and it won't forfeit any blooms, whereas the one above it, that's a lace cap. If I was to cut that at the end of winter, start of spring, I wouldn't get any blooms at all. But it's equally as beautiful, and it's still blooming as well. Some of the flowers are still quite blue, and other ones have went over to more, getting their more autumnal colour, which is really, really nice. I'll let you see that actually. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, it's definitely got a lot more blue over the years, this one. Because when I got it, it was more, it was a bluey, oh, bluey pinky purple. It was quite cornflower blue, but with more of a pinky tone. Absolutely stunning. But I still really love it. And even the more autumnal colours are absolutely gorgeous. So that's definitely one for the garden. And this is maybe about, I've probably had this for 10 years maybe. And it's grew so quickly. I mean, it's massive and it flowers every year. This one, I have to say, in my garden has thrived on neglect. So, yeah, this is a Gaillardia. Started it maybe July last year from seed, and I did do quite a few, and maybe 3 have come through. The other 2 are in too shady a spot. I need to move them. I'm really thinking I might move them over into this bed, because I do want to start moving a wee bit more to perennials rather than everything being annuals all the time, although I do like the bright poppy annuals. But this Gaillardia, look, I think this is a goblin variety, and I quite like, because at the moment it's still quite short. Now, I think that this might start blooming a wee bit earlier next year. I think it's just because it's quite new. But that'll be interesting to see. And also, although it is perennial, it'll be interesting to see, because this is my first year, see how it lasts. Now this is probably quite a good draining spot where it is, because it's a bit higher up than the rest of the border. So I'm thinking it should be okay. But you never know with the elements what might happen. So I've got a few more of these coming on. They're just tiny at the moment, more wee seedlings, so that hopefully if I do lose any, then they can take over. But look at that. And especially at this time of year with the red and the yellow. What nicer colour for the start of autumn. Now, what else do I have? So one of my absolute favourites in my garden is this Rudbeckia, here and here. Now this was the original plant, and look how amazing it's looking. Now I divided this a lot last year, and I think we can count how many we've got. Yes, we've got 1, 2, 3, There's a wee one hiding up here, but it's not getting any sunshine, but it is alive. 4. And there's another one. 4. Again, you have to excuse all the bad spots that they're in, because this is all getting rejigged. There's another one round here. 5, poor wee soul. 5. 5. 6. 7. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. But 7 Rudbeckia from one plant that I think is maybe about 3 years old. And that main one, I didn't do anything to it for the first couple. Last year was the first year that I actually divided it. And look at these amazing plants already. So 7 plants from one. I think that's pretty good value. And it started blooming maybe about a month ago. And this will keep going probably until it gets right away into October. And then the really nice thing about this one as well is if you don't deadhead the last of them, you'll get these wee seed heads and they'll stay all winter. And so Rudbeckia, 7 plants from one. I think that's probably my favourite in this garden. It thrives. So this is Zone 8B in Scotland. And I'd say, well, normally we're quite rainy. Like even when we've been really rainy, that Rudbeckia has still thrived. So pretty robust, I would say. And then here we have another hydrangea. Now this again was a cutting from that. It was a cutting from this big one here. And look at it, the size, it's probably about 3.5, 4 feet maybe. And it's bloomed last year just a little bit, but look, it's had quite a few wee blooms on it this year, and poor wee soul, it was annihilated with some sort of like aphids and green fly and everything. But it bounced back to flower, and also it got a late frost. When I think about it, it got nipped with frost, and I was worried that it wasn't going to flower at all, but it did. So this is a lace cap variety, and I think it's called Zorro. What else have we got? Oh yeah, so also another one, we've got the hydrangea here, and this is Invincible Spirit 2. And it is just fantastic. It's been blooming maybe a couple of months now. And obviously these are the more aged blooms, but look how stunning they are, because they've still got the wee edge of pink, but it's got that vintage look, which is really, really nice. And then these ones that are a bit brighter, that's the more newer blooms. Look how bright it is, it's gorgeous. And I love how it's sort of getting staggered blooms rather than them all just coming out at once, getting some more, so that is fantastic. Another, sorry, I've got a lot of hydrangeas here. Another one is this wee one, which I'm positive is called Limelight. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I got this as a wee bargain from Morrison's last year, and I don't think it had a proper tag on it. But look, absolutely stunning. Sorry, I'm using that word a lot, but it's so gorgeous. Again, it's got the nice, it's like quite bubblegum pink actually, those edges. Really, really nice. It'll be interesting to see what this does, because again, it was quite new last year and didn't do very much. Wasn't sure if it was going to bloom this year, but it has. And look, there it's getting more newer blooms again. The more creamier ones are new. There's another one. Fantastic. And another one that's blooming in my garden right now, although I do only have one, is because the slugs keep annihilating it every time it's poked its head up. But look at this phlox. How beautiful is that? Beautiful. That is just a beauty. And then down here I've got, there's not many blooms on this just now, but I only just pulled off the last one. This is the red geums that I have. And they're so, so gorgeous. And seeing this wee sort of dreary corner, it can really light it up. Loving them. And I think maybe once I pull this off, it'll be interesting to see if we get any more. But a lot of people say that you don't really get repeat blooms, but I have had with this one. And usually when I deadhead it, I just pull it right out. I don't cut it here. I'll just pull it right out for the base. Maybe that's the secret. Now what else? How could I forget? The Echinops. Now, these have been amazing. These were grown from seed. And if anybody goes to the garden centre, you'll know that just they can be $12.99 and upwards. Love these, especially look at that before it's going over. Some of them are going over now, getting their seeds soon. But unfortunately, I would have liked to keep these up for the winter interest, but I think I'm going to have to dig them up and move them back because they really are not in the right spot. I'll let you see. They're just too far at the front, and if I'm being honest, I'm not keen on the foliage. I'd rather it was a bit more towards the back. But for the actual blooms themselves, and I don't know if I said, but these are absolute bee magnets. So if you want bees and pollinators, I would definitely say that these are worth having in your garden. And I would say 2 years ago, I grew these from seed. Last year I had them planted out. Well, I planted them out that autumn. And then last year they came up. Didn't get many flowers. I think we got 1 or 2. But this year they're just covered. Now what else do we have? Trying to beware that I'm looking for perennials. Oh, the rose campion. Now again, these are new. I only planted them last year. And I've planted them in too shady a spot, so when this all gets rejigged, they're going in more of a sunny location, because I have saw someone on Instagram and she's got like a big bunch of them and they're absolutely gorgeous with that. Look at that colour. Now I think they can be a wee bit delicate as well, so I have got more coming on, little seedlings, so hopefully I'll have them in the garden for quite a while. Now something else that's in bloom right now is these Liatris, and I've got these dotted around the garden. Look at the nice bright electric purple. The ones towards the back are going over a bit. Yeah, they've got the electric purple, so they're still blooming right now. I think they'd be even better, like, see if we had had less, like we've had really intense sunshine, and I think that's why everyone's went over a bit quicker this year. But they're really lovely and they don't seem to let me down either. I'll take you over here and we can look at the other Liatris. Now I just bought the little bulbs this year and planted them up in pots, and then when they were getting big and strong I've put them into the ground. So I've had a few coming up from here. This was one batch. I just love that colour, it's so nice. And then got another batch right here. Oh, you're not picking up the colour here. I can get it to... No, it's not picking up the colour. There, can you see that a bit better? And as I said, hopefully they'll do well in this bed. They have in the one that's at the house, so hopefully they'll do equally as well here, because they've, again, in the other one they've not let me down. And even though I bought wee bulbs this year, the one in the house border I did actually divide. I'll just show you. It's not the best example because this is the original here next to the Rudbeckia and the Amaranthus. And I think there's some hiding under here. I know there's some hiding under here. Where are they? There they are. Again, I'm really bad this year. I've squeezed too much in, so things are getting a bit squished and hidden. Also, I nearly forgot, but look, lupin. Now, that was massive this year. Like, it must have been about at least 3 feet tall and about the same width. And I cut it to allow the Liatris to come up. And it's flowered again. Can't believe it. That's never happened before. I don't know, maybe it's just due to the weather being drier or what. But yeah, look. It's came back and it's got, oh, that looks like it's had a wee chew from somewhere, that wee one. But there's more trying to come. It gets a bit colder, we'll see. Now, I'm positive there's more. Now, I wouldn't say it's not blooming, but this is a red dogwood, and it's got really nice wee blueberries, look. How pretty are those? I love them. Technically not blooms, but never mind. The Nicotiana, which is this sort of lime green, greeny yellow, that can be a perennial in some gardens. It tends to, I don't think it's the same one that comes back for me, but it does tend to self-seed. I think that's about it for what's actually blooming right now, like as in perennials. So I really hope you've enjoyed that wee guide of what's in flower perennial wise in my garden at the moment. And this is the 2nd of September, Zone 8B in Scotland. So hopefully it'll maybe give you a wee guide if you are perhaps in the same sort of climate or same sort of area. Hopefully it's been quite helpful for you. So I will just say bye for now.